My bun is not cute, but we're just gonna ignore that. Stop. Before you watch any further, make sure you check out my new announcement video where I announce I'm starting a book club. Ooh, did I interest you? Are you interested? Then you should go check out that video. Okay, bye. Hi everybody, I'm Jessica Nicole Dickerson, aka J&D, and welcome back to another video. So we are going to talk about the most disappointing books of 2019. I have discovered that as you read more books, you start to get disappointed by more books, which, you know, you would think would logically make sense. But when I first started reading more heavily in 2017, I enjoyed so many books. Like, I never ran into books that like caused me any like conflict internally, emotionally about wow, this is bad, or wow, this is not jiving the way I wanted it to. I just picked it up and enjoyed it. And I feel like I'm either becoming more of a critical reader, or I just have expectations for books that aren't reached. So it's very interesting. I think I'm starting to carve out my book loving identity more. I'm just gonna dive into the books that really disappointed me. Basically disappointing meaning that it's not a bad author. The author isn't terrible. The writing wasn't like terrible. The thing is that I had high expectations for this book. Heard good things. I loved the first book. Things like that. Have previously read things from this author and enjoyed, and expected it to be a 5-star, and it wasn't. So I definitely know I need to work on that in 2020, just having lower expectations, but it's hard. The hype gets you, the authors get you, you know, you feel me. But let's dive into the book. So nearly the first book I read of 2019 disappointed me, and that is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. So I thought that this world was so cool. The fact that this whole premise is that people don't die anymore naturally. Like, science has progressed so much that they have to have scythes that go out and kill people, because you could live so many lives, refresh yourself in your neuro, you know, your cellular stuff, and be young forever and healthy. Creepy shit. But I thought the premise was so cool, and I felt that there was, how do I explain this? I just found that the love relationship was unrealistic. I also felt that though the world is super interesting, the actual page by page things were happening, but overall I didn't understand really why I should keep reading. And I think that's a problem that I've faced a lot with the books that I'm about to mention, is that the premise is interesting. There is a clear reason to the story being told. In this particular story, the two main characters are opposing each other for something. And I'm like, okay, cool. But at the same time, they're gonna have this final battle, basically, is what's going to happen in this book. I know it's going to happen. I also would love for there to be other things, some other stuff to pull my attention besides the amazing world. There just was a lack of interest that it was going on and on. And the world's interesting, but when you hit me with the same shocking details, it's not shocking anymore. It works once or twice, but that's it. And the political intrigue also lacked until the very end. So I thought it just didn't engage me as much as I wanted it to. Sad. I think I will try and continue to the second book, because I've had that problem where the first one isn't as engaging, but then the second one picks up, because I hear there's a computerized system in this, and I hear it has a bigger part to play in the second one. So I will continue, but dang, reading the first book was so slow. I was just so like, I just want them to fight it out already, because you already know they have a romance, they're gonna fight it out. Like, get to the point, or not to the point, but at least engage me just a little more. The next book that I didn't like is another hyped book on booktube that a ton of people like, and I don't understand why. A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. So this book disappointed me because the hype really got to me. I thought this was going to be a super extraordinary book, and basically what I got was a contemporary romance with some suspenseful mystery, which is fine, but I feel like I had an expectation for a really cool murder mystery. I feel like the points for me, like the plot points of who is doing it, who did the deed, just it all adds up in the end, obviously, and you have your ideal suspect in mind, but the plot didn't really focus on that too much, figuring out the mystery. It was more about the two characters and them not jiving in life. So I just feel like it was a suspenseful thriller that was really character driven, and it was not what I was expecting. I was expecting a very heavy plot driven, intensive Sherlock Holmes discovery smartness, and I feel like these guys didn't do that. That's not what happened. It was a lot of romance, a lot of sad personal backstory. So yeah, it disappointed me. And just letting you know, Scythe was a 3-star. This was also a 3-star. It's like, it's okay. It's just a suspenseful story, if you want to call it suspense, because yeah. Okay, one of the next books that disappointed me because I loved the first one so much. And it really makes me want to reread the first one to see if I still love it as much, or if it was naive Jess from a year ago who loved it a lot but like has become more critical and can't love the same things anymore. That was a deep sentiment, but I might be right. I don't know. The book is Evermore by Sarah Holland. This one I gave a 3-star. It's just okay. Like, if you want a fantasy. The first one though was a 5-star. Beautiful, written perfectly. The political intrigue was great. Basically, this story is about a world where currency is given by your time. So you have to, like, they take out blood from you, crush it into like dollar coins things, and you purchase things from that. So obviously the higher up people, the hierarchy, the kings and queens live on for centuries because they're collecting money from poor people, and there's people who are impoverished who give their life away and don't live long lives, live until they're like 30 or something because they're trying to pay for their house and food and things. And this first one had a cute romance in it, but it didn't impact the plot as much. Like, it was just a side plot that was cute, but then it really focused on the girl and her figuring out her past because she didn't remember it too well. And there's this ancient, like, fairy tale that also is interweaved into the plot, and on top of that there's political intrigue because there's some political things happening with the queen and the palace and her trying to get closer to the truth through that. And wow, there was so much going on in the first book that had me just so in awe. And then I come to this book, same world, but it had an issue. So there was this issue. We know something was revealed in the first book and it needed to be conquered. So this book was just conquering it. And the fear of conquering it and wanting to hide, wanting to run away, not wanting to run away, wanting to conquer it, knowing the one thing you have to do to conquer it and doing it. That's this book. And I have an issue with books like that, and I've come to realize that as I've been reading, is that when a book is one note, like I'm reading this story because this battle needs to occur, I need more than just the battle. Obviously there's a romance in this, but to me it did not hit hard enough to carry the story further than needing to defeat this thing. And of course I read it because I wanted to understand what happened in the first book, her story, her background, and how she defeated this thing, but I just wanted it to be more thrilling and exciting, and it wasn't. So yeah, I gave it a 3-star. Oh, the first book was so good. The next book that disappointed me, unacceptable. I'm just kidding. It's fine. It was okay. It was a 3-star. It was Superman. Superman Dawnbreaker. It's part of the DC Icon series. So my issue with this book is nothing to do with the writing. Most of these problems that I have aren't writing. They're mostly plot-based problems that I have. So my problem with this is that the plot was predictable from the beginning, and I had super high expectations because I really loved Batman and Wonder Woman, and I didn't love Catwoman as much as I wanted to, but it was still like a 4-star. This one's a 3-star because I feel like the plot was very lacking. The DC Icon books are amazing because I think they're looking at very traditional characters and bringing them into a more modern, diverse light, where Batman actually talks about his privilege and is combative about what he should do as a person, and Wonder Woman talking about people who are of different socioeconomic statuses and learning about people of color and things like that. Like, but it was integrated so well that it didn't make you think that, oh, I need to point out brown people because they also exist and I haven't acknowledged them ever. It wasn't like that. But this one was like that. It just pointed the finger at, we don't like brown people. Ooh. And I guess it's because Superman comes from a small town, so they played with the whole Smallville problems, and I think it's also politically divisive because of where we are in the United States and the world about when it comes to immigration and things like that. So yeah, I just felt like the tool they wanted to use, immigration, disliking of others, wasn't used in a appropriate way. It should have been approached not so forcefully. Like, obviously, and I guess this is the thing, for me it's obvious that people don't like that there's a political issue with people's opinions on immigration, and obviously it's different for every individual, but the way they approached it in other books was less forceful. I feel like this one was so forceful in the fact that, oh, I never knew the world was like this, how, oh no, and the whole story was about that. The whole story. I'm trying to think if there was a romance in here. I don't think there was. Like, I'm starting to even forget like this because it was not rememberable at all, because it was just, the main focus was fixing this problem again. Like, there's one problem, we gotta fix it, and oh gosh, it's so ugly, it's such a bad problem, oh no, blah blah blah. You know, so I feel bad. I think I liked some aspects of this, but damn, I forgot what aspects those were. They'd given him a chance to live, and wasn't that what every person migrating from one place to another was really seeking? And they're also playing on the idea that, you know, Superman's an alien and he came here and he's not a human. So I think they just really pounded that in the face, and I was just like, okay, you know, 3-star. The writing was good, just could have needed more pizzazz, some song on that shit, you know? The next book I read also disappointed me because I had such high hopes. I've heard so many good things about her books. It is Saints and Misfits from S.K. Ali. This is her debut book. I also would like to preface that I do appreciate the fact that this is a book that highlights Muslim American teens, because we do need more books like that. But I don't like the fact that the writing style of this wrote the main character as very childish and honestly super obnoxious to the point of not believing, like the believability was lost. And the plot of this could have been so interesting because it's the concept of you're a saint or you're a misfit or you're a monster. An incident happens in the beginning of this book, and she refers to this boy as a monster because of what he did. And she refers to one character as a saint constantly, but it's more like a joke. Like, it's not a big plot point that she's a saint. But categorizing these people to kind of secure yourself, I thought was so cool, and I thought we were going to do a deep dive. But basically, after that incident, she doesn't mention her kind of systematic way of thinking. She avoids the issue. And there was just a lack of communication about the incident until the very end. So the whole story didn't focus on this inciting incident at all. It talked about how basically she wanted to avoid it and how she liked somebody else and was trying to chase them down and like have a relationship with them, and how the community judged her. There was just a lost opportunity for this systematic way of thinking and protecting yourself from the world. And then the people who she wants, or people who want to help her, she is really nasty towards. And also people who are nasty towards her, who demand her to do something about it and stand up, she's nice to. I didn't like how there was this forced idea that if someone's done you wrong, you need to get up and you need to do something, because at the same time everybody deals with such violent acts in such a different way, and you should not be pressured to do something you don't want to do. You should do something to relieve yourself, doing what's best for you. And I know that is going to be different for each and every person. So I just feel like this had some really kind of morally not so okay stuff for me when it was approaching this sensitive topic. So yeah, my bad. Didn't quite jive with me. Oh, and the narrative voice, man, got me. Oh, it was just so annoying. I was like, girl, I'm gonna punch you. Okay, guys, and my last book is gonna be very hard for some of you guys to hear, but you know what? I just have to put it out there in the world. I'm disappointed by A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I just have to say it. I loved the second book. I'm halfway through the third one. I'm loving it now. This first one was just, I guess, a good setup. But again, it comes down to that there's this plot. There's this thing, we need to do it, and it'll get done. That's the plot. I feel like the character development in this one, it just wasn't existing. For me, it's like things were happening, they were doing cool stuff, but it just like didn't click. I was just like, okay, they did this thing, great. I didn't feel like I knew them as individuals. I didn't really see them. In the second book, I can see them. I care so much for them. And this one, it's just like, there's these two people on an adventure, you know? And I guess it did its job because it set the foundation so well for the second book, but I just feel like this whole first book, you can almost skip it, in my opinion, because the second book is so much better. Oh my god. Sorry. Stab me. I'm so sorry for saying it, but I just found this book to be kind of boring. I knew the conflict, I knew that it would be resolved, because obviously there's a bunch of other books that the issue's gonna be resolved and new issues will come up, or the issue would be prolonged, something. There was an issue, needed to be solved. That was it. I'm like, okay. The thing that made this book okay was the world. The world is really, really exciting and really cool. But the plot and the characters, man, they did not do me justice. Okay. Yeah. Those are all the books that disappointed me in 2019. We still got 3 weeks, so another book might pop up. We don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully we keep those books away from Jess. At least for a little bit longer, because I need some good books. It's finals. I haven't read too much towards the end of the year, so I need to get it together. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, join the family, and also like and comment down below. Support your girl. Okay. Thank you for watching today's video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.